let's keep it going. Malik, you have one of the most promising quarterbacks in the entire NFL on your team.
I do.
For the LA Chargers.
This one is very intriguing for me because there's a number of different ways that you can go to try to help Justin Herbert. I don't want to go defense on this one. Like, Caleb Farley could be intriguing here. I get that. But at the same time, like, I look at this team's defense and I feel like not having God, I'm struggling with names today. Who was injured with
Derwin James.
Derwin James, thank you.
Injured every year.
Derwin James is like the best defensive weapon that no one ever talks about because he's always injured in some sort of way. So I feel like if they get him back next year, that's going to be huge. Joey Bosa is probably one of the best pass rushers in the NFL too that also no one talks about. So I think the defense is going to be okay moving forward. I look at this offense. There's two spots that I'm looking at here. And I'm going to lean towards an area that I touch on when you have a franchise quarterback. You got to get someone to protect your franchise quarterback. Give me Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech. And I seriously considered getting another wide receiver here just because he's got some good weapons to work with. You got Hunter Henry. You got Mike Williams and all that right there to help. But you got a brand-new quarterback who – was great this past year. You got to be able to protect him, and I think Darrisaw is a great value pick for them coming up at 13 as well.
I'm not sure if he got franchised or not, but I do know Hunter Henry's supposed to be a free agent. So if he falls, I would love to see Kyle Pitts on this team.
Kyle Pitts would be so interesting there. I agree.
I would really love it, but I'm with you. When you draft a franchise quarterback, you got to protect him. Darrisaw, it's a perfect pick again here. So especially with that mentality of protect the franchise.
Well, I think that there's a group of tackles there that all live in the same realm.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
They're so interchangeable that it's kind of like it's like choose your own at that point.
It's a lesser class of last year's.
Yeah. Oh, it is. But they're so interchangeable. Like, I have nothing. If they take Vera Tucker here, I have nothing wrong with like
Sam Cosme. Like they could go a couple different ways.
Yeah. So
I missed the pick, but I'm assuming it was Christian Darrisaw.
Good eye on you, Austin. Yes, it was.
All right. Big brain.
Yeah, it'd be crazy if people just got up in the middle of an ESPN show to go get a PB&J sandwich, I guess.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I feel like I would die right now, wouldn't I?
Well, you're on it. What'd you say?
I said PB&J. I feel like I would have died right now, wouldn't I?
I thought you said I'm on a diet while waving a Swiss cake roll at
Yeah,
me.
like that's. I don't think that correlates unless there's like some weird diet we don't know about.
Oh, Austin. All right, moving along. We are on to one of the weirdest teams to draft for, I would say, this year. You are wearing their colors accidentally. It is the Minnesota Vikings, Dre.
The purple and gold, Minnesota. This team has a specific identity, and I want to further hammer down that identity. We talk about Swiss Army knives. We talk about exactly what they want to do. This guy played on the offensive line. He could be a tackle. He could be a guard. We want to lash Vera Tucker here, and we want to continue to pound that football, hand it off to Delvin Cook, who just got that contract, and we also just want to be able to have this guy swing around wherever we need him, whether it's tackle, whether it's guard. You never know. But the bottom line is that this is one of the most versatile offensive linemen in this class. He's a guy that fits what they want to do in terms of scheme, whether they want to run on the outside, run on the inside. He's a guy that can pull. He's a guy that can run downfield. He's a guy that gets to the second level, and he just mauls people. He's also really good in pass pro, and as we talked about with Justin Jefferson last year and Adam Thielen, they got the weapons. You got to protect Kirk. He does that for you too.
I love this pick, and it's also funny that we always touch on beforehand that when you're projecting the Minnesota Vikings, it's usually defensive line or offensive line that they are going for, just because it feels like there's always some sort of need there, no matter what. But no, I love this pick. He's versatile. He could fill multiple areas right there, and I mean, yeah, Kirk Cousins, he's only going to get you so far, I feel like, but at the same time,
how dare you?
I'm sorry.
How dare you?
Hey,
where do you get off?
That's your twin you're talking about.
Right?
He does not like that. He does not like that.
That is your twin, Greg.
Fuck, I forgot. I forgot. Hey, I'm not as rich as Kirk Cousins, although I wish I was. If you want to throw some money my way, by all means.
You're rich in humor, Greg. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Thank you.
What a cop-out answer Austin just threw
really.
in here. Austin got made fun of for his sandwich, so now he's being nice to everybody.
Really?
Let's take a quick look at the board. Just to go over, because I want to go over the top picks that came through there. So we have Trevor Lawrence at 1, Justin Fields at 2, Jamar Chase, Zach Wilson going up there. I don't think that there's too much shock about those pieces. They could be moved. Sewell to the Bengals, you can Sharpie in at this point. wide receiver to the Eagles, Trey Lance, Micah Parsons, Rashawn Slater, Kawapiti, Kyle Pitts, Patrick Surtain on the 1 through 12 pick there, and then as we move on here, Verisha Tucker. There might be a little run on some offensive linemen here coming up, guys. What do you think?
I agree. I think this is such a good tackle class too that I feel like a lot of teams are probably going to just go for a run on that at this point, because if you look at the depth overall from this class, I think especially in the later rounds, receiver you can go with, corner I feel like you could go with. The edge guys I probably wouldn't go highly for at this rate. I'd rather wait till the second at this point. So I think the way that the board falls to it, I think tackle and guard is going to be the best way to go.
Agreed. Let's keep it going. We are up to the New England Patriots, which are kind of an ugly pick. Like they're a little bit murky in their needs. You can look on, obviously Draft Network has them at tight end, wide receiver, and linebacker. They have who's the others? Patrick Chung and Hightower both coming back.
Yeah, they have a lot
year.
of guys from their defense coming back this year.
So for me, this one kind of picks itself since this man fell so far, and that is the scariest duo in the world is now going to be Bill Belichick and Jalen Waddle coming out of Alabama. I don't love their most recent wide receiver choices. I don't think that they've been bad by any stretch of the imagination, but Waddle is instantly their number one offensive weapon, I would argue, on a very large scale. Get him in here. You have a lot of young receivers, a lot of talent. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with their quarterback position, because I did think of Mac Jones here, but I think that they would rather bring in a veteran, run with their Jarrett Stidham at quarterback and see what it goes, but talent.
I love this pick. This screams best player available. This screams letting the board come to you. And this is also something that Bill Belichick has been bashed for numerous times about not being able to draft receivers. This dude coming into this year was looked at as better than Devontae Smith. This dude was coming into potentially being the first receiver taken off in this class, and he falls all the way to 15. This is a steal.
Absolute steal. He's explosive, and one thing that the city of Boston or all of New England is going to love about him is his toughness.
Right.
One thing that sold me is when he was out there playing on that broken leg in the championship game. I shouldn't have been out there. He was risking money, but he was out there, and he looked really good.
Wanted to win that natty, man.
He did.
Yeah.
He wanted to contribute, and I tip my cap to that man, because, again, I would have made a business decision 100%. Yeah, tip the cap, thoughts from the bench. Bottom line is that they have no weapons offensively.
No.
They need somebody out there. Like, I could see, again, Pitts is a guy, if he falls, they could take him, but getting Waddle here, absolute stud. They should be very happy. Now, figure out that QB position, you're on to something.
Oh, I trust Stidham to the moon, baby.
I don't know.
That hill.
I don't think Stidham will be the quarterback next year, boys, but that's just me. I think that they have...
You think they run a Wildcat every game?
No, I believe they sign one person to a deal. If again, I might be on behind the news or anything if anything's going on, but I believe they signed one Marcus Mariota.
I don't think he's a free agent. I think that he has a 2-year deal with Las Vegas, but I don't hate that, Austin, because I think Mariota still has something left in him to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, he'll be a free agent in 2022.
Yeah, so that he would have to be a trade. But Austin, I agree with you. I think that the way that he was utilized in Tennessee, I feel like it didn't necessarily fit with the type of offense that he ran at Oregon. But I still think there's something there.
Agreed.
All right, Austin, you are up right now, sir, for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I firmly believe that Patrick Peterson will no longer be a member of the Arizona Cardinals going into next season. Got to find somewhere to build that position, and I'm amazed that he has also fallen this far. But I'm going to go with one Caleb Farley, cornerback here. Their needs really only explained in they need corner, they need running back, they need edge. You can kind of get the running back and the edge positions later on in the draft. If you want to trade up, go ahead. But real corner that they can rely on right here, Caleb Farley, no question.
Is this more so BPA for you, Austin, or is this kind of like of the belief that they just have to eventually get someone to, I don't want to say surpass Patrick Peterson, but maybe just kind of like help build up that depth right there?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, their number one need for me is corner. So you could argue team need, but Farley falling this far is a little bit of a best player available situation. So little bit of a tangled situation here. But I think Farley, if I'm drafting here, is a member of the Arizona Cardinals.
Pat Pete's getting up there in age. He's still very effective, but they need someone on the other side, especially because Matt Stafford's now in that division, and I'm very excited to see how that works out. Plus, you got Russ and DK. Well, you might have Russ, but you do have DK. So, bottom line is that I don't like their defensive backfield outside of Pat Pete and Buda Baker. And Buda Baker's not really a cover guy.
Buda Baker's a stud, though.
He is a stud. He's not a cover guy, but he's a stud.
I got some faith in Byron Murphy.
So,
but
I think he's a slot guy.
Caleb Farley is the best option here.
I think Murphy could go to the boundary if he needs to. But, yeah, I agree. I like Murphy's definitely got a lot of talent still for them.
Let's move it on. You can do a Gruden impression if you want, Greg.
Oh, I got no. You're the one
that's
got it.
Austin's the impression guy.
No, but I've heard yours though. Yours is pretty good. Say that again, Austin.
What on God's green earth was that?
Yeah. Do that again.
Yeah. Look at the spider two-eyed banana he got going there, John Gruden.
Derek, please correct him.
Just saying the name. Here's a rule for impressions, Austin. If you have to say the name of the guy, like, hey, I'm John Gruden. How's it going?
It's usually
hey.
not good.
No, but I'll tell you what, man. This guy can play.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. If you just say that one sentence over and over again, you'll get to it.
That's how you do a John Gruden impression.
But I'll tell you what, man. This Greg guy, he's gonna pick somebody good, huh? I like the way he sits there. I like the way he looks. Look at him. He's got the hoodie on. You know, he's really got it, man.
This guy. I got camo pants on. Like I'm ready to roll.
You can't even see his pants, man.
No, this is my Sunday attire right here. So this is what I'm working with, guys. Guys, this is my favorite player in this class.
Oh my.
He could fill so many areas on that defense. He's a weapon, and I'm so excited that he came this far.
I don't think this name's going to fit.
And I personally believe he is a top 10 talent in this class, but I think based on how the board is going to fall for a lot of guys, that it's just going to work out where he'll be top 20 still. One of my favorite players in this class. Give me Jock Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah for that Las Vegas Raiders defense. Mike Mayock, I think, will love this guy.
Low-key, I hope he falls to 24 because...
Oh, I do too. Trust me, I would be thrilled to have him as the pairing partner with Devin Bush. Trust me.
He is probably one of the most electric defensive players in this draft.
Yeah, so the Raiders do run a 4-3, so I don't know exactly if he'll fit as the middle linebacker right there. But even if you put him as an outside guy in a 4-3, he would still be great. He could cover tight ends if you want. He'd be perfect in pass coverage. He could blitz off of end too, and he's multi-dimensional. Someone I think compared him to, and this was an interesting take that I thought of, he's basically like a better Jabril Peppers. And I was intrigued by that because here's the thing. Jabril Peppers was...
Trey just threw up in his mouth.
Well, here's the thing. Jabril Peppers, in terms of an athlete terms, he's great, but he had no position. With Koramoah, he is a definite linebacker in this case, but he's not totally undersized to the point that he just can't cover guys to that. I think he fits the new NFL right now, and I believe that the Raiders definitely need like type of weapons like that for that defense because this is a team that's I think going to be in the playoffs next year.
Yeah, and again, this is a team that they struggle with playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. Like they have Max Crosby to get after the quarterback, and they got Jonathan Abraham, who on the field again extremely hard-hitting safety. He can do a lot for them.
Clelin Ferrell is still underappreciated on that team. He does. I mean, he's not.
He'll forever be stunted by that 4th overall.
Oh, he will. He will never live up.
Max Crosby's.
Yeah, he'll never live up to that number 4 overall pick. Yeah. But I mean, in terms of character, in terms of like building a culture with the Raiders, I mean, he fits what they were looking for.
But young Jock, he adds an element to that defense that desperately needs it.
Yeah,
and at that level of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Dre, you are up for the Miami Dolphins. They previously selected one Jamar Chase. So wide receiver is no longer in need unless you believe that they should go for another one. But what's up with the Miami Dolphins, Dre?
Again, this is a team that, they have the luxury of having 2 first-round picks because of how they conducted business a couple years ago. This is actually their pick, though. So this isn't the Texans' pick. But the bottom line is this. A lot of people like someone like Najee Harris here. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm not a proponent of drafting running backs in the first round, but I get why they would do it. They would do it because they got 2 first-round picks, and they have a need there. But they have a bigger need, and that bigger need is to protect the franchise. People forget Tua is a lefty, so he needs his backside protected, and I'm going Samuel Cosme here.
All right. I don't hate that.
They got Austin Jackson last year. He plays left. You need to protect the franchise, and with Tua being a lefty, you got to protect his backside, and that's the guy that can do it.
Dre, I do agree with you that that's something that I feel like a lot of people are underestimating, is that when you're taking a tackle, you probably want to get a guy that's more right tackle in this case because, yeah, he would protect the blind side. So it makes sense because, like, I've seen stuff where people could pick Penei Sewell here, and I don't hate that. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, like, if I'm going to utilize him to the fullest potential, I don't want him on the Dolphins just because, like, the left side isn't going to be as necessarily as important.
Yeah.
I feel like.
And if you do that, it makes sense. But you're swinging Austin Jackson over there. But in the end, if you do that, you want your better tackle to protect the blind side of the quarterback. So, and Sewell he profiles as a left tackle in this league up. I mean, we think a dominant left tackle in this league, but you need to protect the backside. And Samuel Cosme, to me, is a perfect right tackle. So he's a guy that they can get right here.
Cosme as a perfect right tackle is kind of the reason I don't have him as a first-round talent. He's very. I don't want to say that he's a bad player or anything like that, but like when I'm comparing the rest,
talk him, Greg.
When I compare him to like the rest of this offensive line class in general, I don't see him as a first-round talent. Like, weirdly enough, I think Liam Eichenberg and I think Dylan Radins are better tackles than Cosme. I feel like Cosme just has like a little bit more development that he needs to do. But if you're going with it based off of the fact that he would be a right tackle instead of trying to build him
the
as
logic
a blind,
sound.
It makes sense based off of that. Yeah.
What do you think, Oz?
What I want to know, Dre, is with the departure of one particular defensive player, why not go defense here for the Dolphins? With obviously being the one.
Well, Austin, he knew that was going to be the cut. Like,
I only said that because I believe that they could be clearing up cap space for a Deshaun Watson trade, and the player everyone's talking about is Kyle Van Noy. The reason why
trash ass statement. What?
The reason why I don't go defense is because of one, Andrew Van Ginkel. I don't know if you watched a lot of Dolphins games last year, but that dude was all over the field defensively and on special teams.
He was.
Impact play after impact play, and now he gets a chance to be a full-time starter on that defense with Kyle Van Noy.
There's not really any other linebackers in this class, though, either.
Linebacker, but I'm thinking of like a defensive end here. And I know that's completely up, but Gregory Rousseau is like a big name I think that could be mentioned here, especially with him being a hometown boy right in Miami.
Yeah, Rousseau's somebody you think of maybe as Avian Collins, but bottom line is that, young QB protect the franchise, and with Austin Jackson playing the left side, they got a big hole on the right side. Cosme's a guy I like here. So
speaking of big holes, I'm up next on a team that has 1 million of them except for their front four, and that is the Washington football team. Millions of needs, but the biggest one here that makes this the easiest pick in the draft for me so far is they don't have really a starting quarterback. I mean, I think Heineke was electric. I think that Kyle Allen is loved for no reason at all by Ron Rivera. Bring in the guy who has shot up draft boards for no reason this year, and that is Mac Jones out of Alabama, the last remaining quarterback that has somewhat of a first-round grade for me in this draft. But give the Washington football team really a quarterback that I think can step in right now, can play. They obviously have some line issues, and it's, are you putting the cart in front of the horse by taking Mac Jones here? But if they do not get this guy here, they are not getting a quarterback in this draft that matters. I do think that there's something there with Heineke that is cool. It just reminds me more of Duck than it reminds me of a legitimate NFL starter. And I don't hate Kyle Allen. I think he's a decent plug-in bridge guy, and there's a lot of free agent quarterbacks that could end up going there. But with the departure of Dwayne Haskins and Alex Smith, Mac Jones gets to play starter for the Washington football team week 1.
I love it.
It's good for trying to get a guy that you need to. I mean, I kind of have my own way of where I think they're going to go at quarterback, but I don't know.
The thing with Mac Jones, a lot of people have been saying about him is that if this were the NFL in 2008, that he would probably be the number 1 quarterback everyone's talking about.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
for sure.
100%.
For sure.
Well, behind Lawrence. But the bottom line is that his style of play just doesn't fit what today's NFL play is, because he's not really a scrambling guy. But when he's in the pocket, I mean, he dissects
Dices.
defenses.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you bring that up, too, because realistically, Trevor Lawrence doesn't fit, like, the mold of the quarterbacks that we like, that we see nowadays either. But it's the problem is that just Lawrence just is so smart. He's got the arm that is, like, it's beautiful to watch throw.
But he can move when he has to.
He can move
He
when
can
he
move
has
when
to.
he has to,
He's
which
also
I think,
he's a big boy,
because
too.
I would say Joe Burrow fits that same kind of mold of he can move when he has to, but he's not Kyler Murray, he's not Lamar Jackson,
true,
he's not
yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. But there is a place for that still in the NFL, and I'm not saying Mac Jones is Joe Burrow, but I'm saying Mac Jones is maybe like the best plug-in right now outside of Trevor Lawrence naturally. Quarterback in this draft class, his ceiling might not be as high, but for the Washington football team, you have nothing. Now, yes, we can speculate all goddamn day that they're going to draft or sign a free agent, but that free agent, no matter who you're signing, is not going to be franchise. You can make a trade. You can do all these things. Right now, they need to get a guy.
Yeah, and this is other case, too, I want to bring up with the rest of the quarterbacks we've taken. So aside from Trey Lance, because I think Trey Lance needs to sit before he's even ready, Mac Jones is probably the one guy that I feel like needs a team around him to succeed.
Yes.
I feel like everyone else that gets drafted, whether it be Lawrence, whether it be Fields, whether it be Wilson, I think they have the mindset to make the team better on their own because of the way that they play, because of just the talent around them. But Jones is the guy that needs more to be able to do well.
And the second they cut Alex Smith, it made this pick that much more important.
Yeah.
To me, this is a team that could possibly trade up to get a quarterback. But for the way the board has fallen in this particular case, it's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. That you take Mac Jones here and, you get ready for that next era.
Why do you hate Mac Jones, Austin?
I don't hate him. I just think that I believe there is a sort of connection that might make me think that the Washington football team could go get a veteran.
Yeah, I don't think that Cam Newton solidifies the next 10 years of their career, though.
Yeah,
I know.
me neither.
I know. But
Speaking of teams that kind of somewhat need a quarterback and are somewhat in the opening for Wilson and, Deshaun Watson, even some of the quarterbacks in this one, is Chicago Bears, Austin.
this is I love this because my opinion is that Chicago is going to reach. And I love that I get to make a reach pick here because I believe that I have them selecting a person that they could maybe have fill Allen Robinson's spot. It'll be interesting. I brought his name up earlier. So with that, the Chicago Bears select one, Kadarius Toney, wide receiver.
Ooh.
I don't think it's as much of a reach as you think it might be based on the Senior Bowl and his kind of moves and stuff. But they are probably losing Allen Robinson.
Yeah, Austin, I don't hate this. The interesting thing, though, if I'm looking at the rest of the receivers just from the get-go, I like Bateman a little bit more than Toney. I think Toney's a perfect slot guy, in my opinion. I think he's got the speed to burn guys at this case right there too. But I don't know if he's the right fit for the Bears, in my opinion. I think the Bears, like, Allen Robinson should have been better. I just look at the fact that they just had no idea what the hell to do with their quarterback situation, and I don't think that they have the right protection necessarily either. So maybe that might have affected it a little bit. But I think they need more of a big body guy like Bateman. But I'm intrigued by this though.
Yeah, and I'm with Greg. I love the pick in terms of the position, but I'm going Bateman here as well. Bateman's a guy who can 100% play on the outside. Toney, to me, in my opinion, I think, again, slot guy profiles someone who can thrive a lot more when there's, less attraction around him, like in terms of scheming on the defense.
Wow.
Like
With a guy named Big Dick Nick, there's a lot of attraction on
that's
that
true
team.
too.
So.
But bottom line is that there's no other weapons on the outside. Like Mooney's not a guy who's gonna command top coverage. So Toney has to take it. And to me, Mooney and Toney play the same position. So I go Bateman, but I love the fact you go wide receiver here, especially because Allen Robinson's gonna be gone.
Moving all right along, we have the team, arguably one of the happiest teams in the NFL right now because they have a franchise quarterback.
They do.
And Greg, you like him. You're okay with him?
I'm a big fan of Carson Wentz. I still think that if he has the right team around him, then this is going to work out great for him. They have the line to protect him. They have a great running game. I love Jonathan Taylor. Receivers are going to be interesting, especially because T.Y. Hilton's a free agent. I don't know if they re-sign him. They have a couple guys that are still really good with to work with off of there. But I look at this defense. I like the front four a lot. They got Darius Leonard as their middle linebacker, who is all-world, and I love him very much. But I look at that secondary. That secondary has been one of the biggest problems for the Colts for a while now. And there's two different ways that I could see them going, obviously, with either safety or corner. But I'm going to lean towards corner in this case. Give me Joe Horn's boy. Give me J.C. Horn.
Which I just found out was Joe Horn's boy.
Yeah, I'm the one that told you that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just never thought about it. Yeah.
Huh.
Now you know who he was calling for that booty call after he scored the touchdown.
Yeah.
I like it. I think that they've I'm a massive fan of Malik Hooker. I think he's a freak talent that has been injured and
He's a
just
free
not
agent
really
too.
lived up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the point is that they really haven't had a good secondary piece in a long time, and I thought Hooker was going to be that boom guy. J.C. Horn has a really good shot here to step in and be a starter and make an impact on the defense.
I also thought about Trevin Moehrig here as well for the safety from TCU. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I look at the rest of.
I'm surprised he didn't take Paris Ford, Dre, honestly.
Yeah, I'm being
We
realistic.
want to talk reaches here, Moorhead. That would be Greg's reach.
I'm being realistic here, but I look at the safety class. I feel like there's some decent looks that you could go second and third round. Like Javon Holland, I feel like would be great for that Colts team as well. But I look at how the board falls, and I think offensive line they could easily go second round, like with Radins or Dickerson or Leatherwood, even if you want. But I think Horn is a first round talent. And I think that's a perfect fit for what the Colts desperately need, and also like a talent that would fit their mold perfectly.
Yeah, and if we're being realistic here, he would have actually went DeMar Hamlin instead.
I'm realistic. He's probably like 6th or 7th round pick at this point. But
If I'm the Colts, I'm mad that Austin took Kadarius Toney because I think he's perfect here for a team that's going to lose T.Y.
Really?
Hilton. He's a free agent.
Interesting.
He's up there in age. I just don't see them bringing him back. If they do, it makes sense, but I'm looking for that next guy, and I think Toney would have been a great fit here. But
You don't think it's Paris Campbell? Like, in all honesty, because I thought they were very aligned, Hilton and Campbell, in their styles.
I like Campbell a lot, but he hasn't had the ability to stay in the field. 2 years he got injured twice, and he's been gone. So it's tough. But with Wentz there, you need weapons, and you got Pittman. I think he's going to be a stud on the outside.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of different ways that they could go. Like, don't get me wrong. I think second round will definitely be their wheelhouse too to work with because they have a lot of great depth options, whether it be line, whether it be wide receiver or safety, if they could go with that.
Let's get on to the other ugly team that we joked about here. Dre, you're up for the Tennessee Titans, brother.
Yeah, and Titans have a really good team. I love the Tennessee Titans. I love what Mike Vrabel's done there. And Derrick Henry's an absolute monster. If we're gonna be honest, Derrick Henry had an MVP type season that no one really talks about. When you rush for 2,000 yards, you should get more praise for that. I understand it's a quarterback league, but I just want to say that now. But this team has one big hole, and it's extremely weird that they have this hole considering their head coach. They were one of 3 teams in the NFL last year with less than 20 sacks as a team. They were absolutely atrocious in that department, and it's extremely upsetting that they have no one that can get to the quarterback. So I think this is a no-brainer pick. I'm going edge, and I'm going Gregory Rousseau here at 22.
I really like this because I think this is a guy that Rousseau has top 10 talent. Obviously, he sat out this year, so maybe that might be a knock on him. And just because I think this defensive end class in general is just bizarre.
Yeah.
But in terms of talent-wise, I think this is a great pick. I would love to see him paired with Jeffrey Simmons along that line. I think he would be an immediate upgrade there.
Yeah, and again, it blows my mind that a team that good with that head coach has less than 20 sacks as a team, which means they had 0 double-digit sacks. I think the most sacks someone had on their team is maybe 5.5.
Yeah.
Bottom line is that a team like that with such a glaring hole that's, in my opinion, one of the favorites.
And they signed Jadeveon Clowney, and they still have that level. Like, he got hurt,
Clowney's
but
a bust. I don't care. I'll say it. Clowney's a freaking bust.
Greg's been saying it since day one,
Yeah,
so
he's
he
a
feels
bust.
you.
It's simple as day, and that's a whole other argument in itself. But Jadeveon Clowney is a bust. He's not even disappointing; he's a bust. But they need somebody that can get after the quarterback, and Rousseau's that guy.
I know I've been talking about it, and Austin, I don't know if you feel the same way. I think this is one position that the year off helped. Like, I will say Chase's year off at wide receiver is a little worrisome. Micah Parsons is a little worrisome. I think defensive end is a position that you can take a year off, and you'll come back the same. I don't know, and maybe it's just the thought of the position itself, but he is an absolute stud, a beast, and I'm excited to see where he lands.
I would think that because they play like his position, the edge rusher plays like their job is to sack the quarterback.
Yep.
You set the edge. Like you.
Titans do play a 4-3 too, so that works.
You play within a 8 to 10 yard setting, whereas like Jamar Chase is going to play 100 yards down the field. So I see that. That makes sense.
What do you think, Oz?
No, I completely agree. I mean, the whole thing with you're right. Like the whole position of with wide receivers and everything, come back could be fine, a little worrisome, but defensive end, that's what they need right here. It's no question. And I'm amazed that, again, maybe because I had originally, I think in one of my mocks, I had him, I think, going all the way up to the Vikings, which is we talked about a position that you would think that they would normally take, either that or offensive line. But hey, if I'm the Titans, I'm sitting here and I have one of the worst pass rushing, even with Clowney, that we know kind of these are busts. Hell yeah, I'm swooping them up.
Right. I love it. Let's transition on. So if you guys remember, the Jets originally picked second overall Justin Fields here. So I am up for the Jets. Tons of need, tons of issues with the Jets. I think that the one thing that they don't need right now is the only position that they don't need, which is a left tackle, which thank God that they got Becton, and he's been doing well. They've solved their quarterback issue with Justin Fields with the second overall pick. So I think that it is, in my mind at least, a no-brainer to go wide receiver, but there's two here that I'm thinking of. The Jets haven't had a good wide receiver in consistent level in a little while now. Jamison Crowder just wasn't doing it. Robbie Anderson left and was much better. So I think that I'm going to go with what I would consider a little bit of a more surefire hit, in my opinion, than Rashad Bateman. I don't know why not small school, but some school guys just scare me. So give me Terrace Marshall Jr. Out of LSU. I don't think that he's an electric, instant going to win a Super Bowl type of wide receiver, but he has the potential to be a one. And I don't know, there's something about Bateman that small school wide receivers just scare me. They take a lot of time to develop. I like Marshall and LSU's system. I think that he's a good fit for this Jets team.
So I guess my question would be that do you not believe in Denzel Mims as a wide receiver one in this league?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not even close.
Okay. I just had to ask.
No, it's a good question. I don't believe that he is a wide receiver one in any shape or form.
Okay.
I think Terrace Marshall has been getting some helium lately too, because there's been some buzz that supposedly the dude's going to run a sub 4.4.
Yep.
Which is absolutely big for a receiver. And and from scouts' perspective, I've read stuff that in terms of between him and Justin Jefferson, that scouts believe Marshall was a better prospect than Jefferson.
Yeah.
And we all saw how Jefferson just lit up the league last year. So it's a good possibility too. In terms of receivers, I feel like Bateman, I like him a little bit more. I think he's more physical. He's more of a possession guy than Marshall, in my opinion. But I don't hate the logic of getting a deep threat to be a guy that you could develop as a number one, though.
And I think you can get receivers in this later class, but it's that conversation that we obviously had around one guy that was taken by the Bengals, which is John Ross III. You can't teach speed.
That's true.
I like Bateman. I think the big body's good, but I think there's a couple free agents that are interesting. I'm really curious to see what the hell happens with Devin Funchess in terms of just being a big body just catcher. But you can't teach speed, and I understand they have Mims there. Marshall just pops the top a little bit better in my opinion.
And here's the thing, man, with first round picks, if you have that one elite trait, odds are you're probably going to go there too. And if Marshall does run a below 4.4, he's coming out of a Power 5 program and he produced pretty well. He didn't overly produce because this LSU team this year was just garbage. But the fact that it's there kind of would speak volumes right there if you put him in a good situation.
Yeah. Can't you run a sub 4, Austin?
I wish. Probably.
You are up right now for our hometown team,
Yeah.
the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do not mess this up, Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got one shot, like Eminem said.
This is a tough one, man. Right now, we are in desperate need of a big amount of offensive line help. I would say that's a big, big, big thing. On the other hand, there's a other person that you
He's gonna
might
do
think. And I don't think I could go with my gut here because I feel like I'll get criticized for it. But I'm going to take a person and hope that we can snag this person in the next round. Give me one Creed Humphrey.
Oh.
I
Interesting.
I
Very
do not
intriguing.
hate it at all. I think that Creed Humphrey is he's a center. He can move around a guard a little bit. There are a couple other names up there that have been tied to the Steelers, which I think is why Greg and Dre kind of want to speak for you guys. So go ahead and say it. But that's why you're a little more concerned than usual with this one.
Yeah. Well, first of all, like Humphrey's weird to me because I read that he's a lefty in terms of a center, which is like completely bizarre
Yeah.
from that end too. So I don't know how that fits well. Me personally, I'd rather take Dickerson. I know he's been injured and all that, but I think he's the best center in this class.
Yeah.
But that's not saying much because this center class is notorious. I don't think is really that great.
Yeah.
I look at the rest of this board, man, like Zaven Collins, Jalen Mayfield, Nick Bolton,
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris,
Which I figured is who you were
yeah,
going
like,
thinking
not-
about there.
Yeah, like, but there's so much like first round talent that I feel like fits with a need or even like a want right there. Like Humphrey is definitely a guy that I feel like is a second round guy at least. Maybe you could argue early third even at that rate. So are you just reaching for a need, Austin, or is there a specific idea with this?
No, because a lot of people have the idea of wanting to. And the primary thing is I didn't take Dickerson was because of the injury history, and that's a little concerning going into probably Ben's like a year that they're going to go like, okay, we need one more year of Ben. With a center like that, with Pouncey retiring, it's not the case for me. Now I get it. Like you could argue, it's a weird pick, yes, but I firmly believe that we can get Javonte Williams in the second round. So I kind of wanted to skip past the Harris thing and go right for the one thing that is going to damage Ben most of all on its offensive line, and especially the center position.
Let's go. Oh, go ahead, Dre.
I was just gonna say.
I'm transitioning, so you're fine, brother.
You realize that, like, with Najee on the board, when people see this, they're gonna throw tomatoes at you. That you just pass on this man. You know, and again,
I had him on my board for a while, my own mocks, and I get it. Like
I get you shouldn't take running back in the first round. There's a lot of people that want Najee, and he was there. You missed him, but I'm with Greg too. Me and Greg, I've been agreeing a lot with Greg today. We've been on the same
Yeah,
page.
this is weird.
Humphrey is not the guy I would have targeted. I would have wanted Landon Dickerson because if you want to fill that position and you like a guy like Humphrey's a guy you can get in round two, and you can address other needs because, again, that offensive line needs rebuilt. A guy like Jalen Mayfield is another guy I would have liked there. You know, he's a guy actually slotted into my original mock draft for, 1.0. But
well, and if you want to target a guy that can move from center to guard, I love Wyatt Davis.
yeah.
So it's there's a lot of names that kind of mix around with here. I do not hate the Creed Humphrey pick. I think that he's a little bit more versatile than we're giving it to be, but I can see, Dre, what you mean by that,
The value. For me, it's more about the value. Javonte also, that's a guy I would love in round two. And personally, if I'm them, if they really want to go running back, if Najee's gone, I'd trade back to like pick 30, and then I'd trap Javonte right there.
Let's take a quick second. I'm just going to show the board. Picks 1 through 12 are up right now. As you can see, not too many shockers. I think Trey Lance was the first. Oh, wow, that. Or I guess Justin Fields was the first. Oh, wow, that happened. And then Trey Lance a little bit, and a couple. I think Kwity Paye to the Cowboys was a little interesting in terms of just something you're not seeing every single day with it. And then we can look at the most recent slate here. Nothing too crazy. I think Waddle falling to the Patriots is terrifying for all of us. But I think it's a pretty nice board so far. So.